Hello everyone. I'd like to introduce an Instagram Reels and TikTok bot, which we've recently built for OFM. In fact, we've very recently added the Instagram Reels channel, as we know that Instagram Reels is becoming increasingly important in the space. So you might notice that throughout this video, some of the dates don't add up. That's just because we've refilmed part of this to show you the Instagram Reels channel, as we know it's extremely important right now. But anyway, without further ado, we actually built this bot originally as an in-house solution for running TikTok, though we decided to offer it on the broader market as we realized it could be quite useful for a lot of people out there. Our reason for building it was because we found there were quite a few problems with the existing solutions out there, which I'll touch on more later. But in general, the bot is founded on three principles. It looks for videos that are recent, videos that are outliers, which is slightly different from videos that are just simply viral. And then thirdly, it also looks for videos which are as reproducible as possible, as this was actually one of the major issues we had. So let me just touch on each of these three principles in more detail. By recent, we simply mean videos which were made within the past 24 to 48 hours on average, because obviously you want to be as on trend as possible when looking for videos to reproduce. It's quite useless to be sending you videos from a month ago that may not be getting picked up by the algo right now. By outliers, as opposed to viral, what we mean is, let's say you had a model or a creator who averages 1 million views. You have another creator who averages 1,000 views. And let's say the creator who averages 1 million views all of a sudden gets 2 million views. And the creator who averages 1,000 views all of a sudden gets 60K views. In our opinion, this is a much better video to reproduce. By that, we mean the video that got 60K views, because even though, yes, the video with 2 million views got much more views, you really need to view this in terms of how well that video performed relative to the average performance for that model. And we also take in a few other factors like the average variability in views for that particular creator. And lastly, by reproducible, what we mean is that these videos should be things a typical girl can actually recreate in her bedroom. There's very little point in us sending in viral videos from creators who are like, I don't know, tractor niched or something. That being said, there are 8 different channels currently in the bot. So obviously, if you're looking at videos from alt, you're probably going to need a girl in the alt niche to properly recreate those. But for instance, there's also general, which tries to be as generic as possible and things that anyone can do without like any need for someone else to film, any need for 2 people, any need for very specific locations, etc. Lastly, I should also mention that skits, which is more like, I don't know how you would describe it, but like acting and stuff, it often takes 2 people to film, but it's only one of the 8 categories. So in general, these videos are made to be things that whatever model you work with, they should actually be able to film these things themselves. I think the easiest way to demonstrate this to you is just to show you some example output from the bot. So if we take a look at this example video from general today, here we can see that you just get 5 videos every day in a very clean output with the video link, sound link, and date. But if we look at this video in particular, we can see that it did substantially better than all of those around it. So this creator is averaging something like probably 50K views recently. And this video in particular did 1.3 million. And it was also filmed quite recently, so only yesterday. It's precisely these things which we are looking for and which we're trying to give you in a neat format that you can very easily pass on to your models. You can see that you get essentially the same thing for Reels. Reels is more general because there's 7 specific TikTok niches. In Reels, there's at the moment only 1, though we may add to this in future if it looks to be viable in terms of the database construction. But anyway, as with general, you can see 5 videos in a clean format for your models to easily reproduce. And let's take a look at a specific example. So if we look at this video and we go over to the creator's Instagram, we can see that it did substantially better than any of those around it. So she, for example, is averaging, I don't know, probably only 800 or so views. And then all of a sudden this video does 16.7K. So you can see it's a very similar principle to a TikTok. It's just looking for sort of general generic videos that do substantially better than those around, that are very recent, and that your model can easily reduce. It's also briefly worthwhile touching on our database, as we think this is one of the fundamental features which sets our bot apart from some of the alternatives out there. We didn't use any scraping software or any outsourcing when we were putting together this database, which contains thousands and thousands of creators. We did it ourselves by hand. This was to ensure that all the niches were accurate, to make sure that all the creators were generally useful creators within the for copying within the OFM space, and to make sure that they were also active. We noticed with some of the other alternatives out there that the output was sometimes very strange, even if the videos were technically very viral. They would come from girls who may not even have been in the OFM space or who were doing insanely specific things. We can only assume that this is either because they used outsourcing or scraping software, so there wasn't really manual human verification of who should really be in what area of the database. But anyway, in addition to this, there is also a second layer of human verification, because how the bot functions is it skims off the 20 most viral videos per niche per day. So for example, here, let's take a look at the Instagram Reels channel. You can see we've taken the 20 most relatively viral videos within that niche on that day. But let's say the first video requires like 3 people to film or involves like multiple models. We're not really gonna send you stuff like that because you may not have multiple models in proximity to each other. Although I should add, within skits specifically, we do send things like that, but only within that niche. But anyway, the point is, even though a video is the most viral in that niche on a given day, we can't guarantee that it's particularly reproducible or that it's particularly useful for OFM. Hence, we manually sub-select the top 5 videos every day. So the 5 videos you see in the relevant Telegram channel are the 5 ideal videos sub-selected from within the 20 most viral videos. So these two things, manual database construction and a second layer of human sort of quality control every day, are some of the fundamental features which we think sets our bot apart from the alternatives out there. With that being said, the most useful thing to do now is probably just compare this to some alternatives available. So for example, SpyFans is a very well-known platform, but if we look at what they're saying is the most viral, and this is the problem we had when using SpyFans, and even though it does often extract very useful, relevant, current videos, there's no human element here. So it's just kind of random whether the most viral videos are actually good. We try to send you viral videos that are actually useful. So let's just look at the top ones on the homepage, past 24 hours, not even divided by niche. You see this one is done in a dentist's office. And that sort of implies that this girl is heavily niched and going to be difficult to reproduce. This is done somewhere in, I don't know, Siberia or something, of a girl getting into an ice bath. Again, we don't think this is very useful or easy to reproduce. And this other video involves someone arguing with a person in a Lamborghini on the street over a parking space. I don't really know what use that is, and we won't be sending you in videos like this. I don't actually know what's going on here either. But we understand they analyze a big database, but there seems to be a trade-off in terms of basically the quality of database and the randomness in what's being selected at the top of that database. Since we've done our database ourselves by hand, and since we have a layer of human verification with regards to what we send into Telegram every day, we know that this won't happen. Another bot worth discussing is BTZ's, although I don't know if it's a bot or if it's someone actually manually sending in videos, which I'll get to. But anyway, in general, we think this is useful too. You can find good videos if you're just running a generic NSFW strategy, that's fine. But what I will say about them is I don't think the bot actually adds anything that a warmed up For You page doesn't. Like if you were just to have a TikTok page and you were just to train the algorithm to give you sort of OF style content, you could get it to give you this output very fast. Also, I don't think there's a layer of human checking, even if they're just forwarded in. I don't think they really consider reproducibility, because if we look at this, for example, it takes 2 people to film and it's done in an elevator. We're trying to provide something that's useful for a typical agency who usually have girls who film in their houses or in their rooms or might not have a content partner to film with. So things like this are also an issue for us. In addition to that, if we see that this was sent in on the 23rd of December, but there's no analysis here because this video was posted on the 11th of the 4th. So this video is not current at all. This is just like generic For You page OF content, which is fine and useful, but it's not particularly advanced, and we don't think it's something you really need a bot to do. All right, so we've already discussed the sort of fundamentals of how the bot selects content. We've discussed the database and we've looked at some alternative services out there. But it should be emphasized that this is not just a solution for finding the ideal TikTok content to reproduce. It's also meant to be a complete integrated solution for everything from finding content through to scheduling and tracking the performance of accounts at scale. With that being said, let me show you a few further minor features of the bot that you can find in the Telegram channel before we go on to discuss tracking and the make scenario, which we've created and integrated all into a Notion workspace. So within the bot itself, you can find a trending sounds database. This is not niche specific. It's just the most trending sounds within the entire database. So across the sort of OF TikTok space in general. That means if you have an idea for a video, that's your own idea, and you want to, you don't know which sound is the ideal sound to use for that video, you can just come in here and you can see every single day what the most trending sounds across the entire space are. In addition to that, there is also a channel which contains live stream examples, just to give you some inspiration on how to run that. And there's also a channel which contains a bit of guidance and example videos in flat for the flashing trend. The reason why there isn't a channel like the others that updates daily for flashing trends is because these accounts tend to be very short-lived. They only last like a month or so, so it's pretty much impossible to build up a long-term database. Lastly, there is also a section which contains SOPs and guides on everything from creation of accounts through to repurposing, and also including how to scale and run accounts at, higher volume. So that's some of the extras in here, but it's probably best now to take it over to Notion, where I can explain the tracking system we've built to let you, keep an eye on all these accounts simultaneously in a clean format. All right, so I've already given you the rundown on how the bot works and everything you can expect to find in the Telegram channel. But like I mentioned, the package includes a make scenario for tracking the performance of all these accounts. The reason we think this is necessary is because if, for example, you're working with, 3, 4, 5 models and you're doing both agency and model side, or even just one or the other, you can quickly end up in a situation where you've got like well over 100 accounts to track, and it can become virtually impossible to do this manually, or at least we found it was, which is why we built this solution. What this does at a broad level is it firstly breaks accounts down by creator and specific username, so specific TikTok account. And it gives you an overview of which accounts are posting how much per day. So let's say on your workflow, you have a quota of you've got 20 accounts running and they need to be posting 5 times a day, whether that's models, VAs posting, or whether it's both. And you need a quick overview for every model of whether that's occurring. This gives you it in on an Airtable spreadsheet. You can literally just see exactly how many videos were posted per account that day. It also breaks down the statistics per video, so it shows you what videos are performing best per model, and it gives you things like likes, comments, likes to followers, etc., and it organizes them by day and gives you the video link. I think the easiest way to go into more detail about this is just to run the scenarios, which we again provide all the schematics and all the guides on how to set them up, but let's just run the scenario and then walk you through the output. So after running the scenario, we can see the output comes in here on Airtable. And we've just used big name creators on TikTok purely for the sake of example. Today's the day after Christmas, so it seems like not that many are posting, but there's enough here to give you the rundown, and let's focus on Brecky Hill just for purely explanatory purposes. What we have here is the username field, which you will have to input yourself because obviously the bot needs to know which accounts it's analyzing. And the only other thing that you need to input is the model name so that it knows what usernames are associated with what particular models. You won't need to input this again on the second sheet. When we get to that, that will automatically be filled in here, but you do need to put it in on the first sheet. But the purpose of this page in general, primarily, is to show you how many videos have been posted a day per account. So let's say we're looking at Brecky Hill's main account. We can see that in the past 24 hours, it's posted twice. Her second account has posted once. So if this was your own model, you might have 20 in this sort of this group for one of your models in particular. And you can just look at this and see how many times each of her accounts has posted. So say she's meant to post 5 times by 9 p.m. You can just look at this and see, okay, all 20 have posted 5 times by 9 p.m. So we're good today. Or whether it's your VAs who are managing the posting on agency side, or both. Either way, it works. The second thing you'll see here is the breakdown daily by video performance. So we run this for the 25th and we also have run it today. So you can see that it's grouped by video, and then within video, it's organized by view count. So this is quite useful because what it allows you to do is it allows you to see what videos work best with your model. So if you're working on a niche strategy and you want lots of data on what content she makes tends to get the most views across all accounts, this is a really useful way to do that. Or even if it's just to give her feedback on what she's done well, like good filming techniques or anything like that. Really, you can do whatever you want with this data. It's up to you, but it will also show you what tends to perform least well on her account. In addition to that, it gives you a bunch of other information broken down by video, video link, caption, followers, likes, comments, shares, sound name, sound link, and the followers to view ratio. So all just useful information broken down by the video level. But the main use we found for this is just tracking that all accounts are posting as they should be when you're dealing with, well over 100 accounts. This is all integrated into Notion to make it a little more user-friendly and just a better user experience. So I think it's useful to go show you that now. So on Notion, you can see we've basically tied everything together, including the raw output of the bot, the tracking, and the schedule. Let's take a look at the tracking, because that's what we're talking about at the moment. You'll also see that we've included a section on Instagram account tracking and Instagram Reels. We have a bot built on Integromat for Instagram too, which does the exact same thing basically as the TikTok bot, which is why I haven't gone into details about it, but that too will be included. So you'll get the same style of tracking for your Instagram Reels as you would get for TikTok, all included in the same package. There's just no point in going into details on both because TikTok largely explains how this works too. But the point is, on Notion, you can just go straight in here every day and you can see all the relevant data that I've just shown you on Airtable. So you'll have a glance overview at whatever time you decide to check every day to make sure all your accounts on all your models are running as they should be. You'll also get all the video data just as I've shown you on Airtable, but it's just nicer to do it all from the same Notion office space. In addition to this, we decided to include the raw algorithmic output of the bot here under trending TikTok videos. Like we said, within the TikTok bot, which is linked at the bottom, we send in the 5 best videos of the top 20 and not just necessarily what are the top 5 in terms of outlier status, because we want them to be reproducible and we want the bot to be a very clean format with 5 a day per niche that we think are easy to actually use for the typical agency. But we don't think it hurts to have the raw output of the bot. So what you can see here is that just as you have it in the bot broken into these niches, you have that on Airtable, but instead of just giving you the top 5, this gives you the top 20, and it gives you the link, the stats, etc. So that if you want to go into more detail and you want to look at a broader range of data, you can. And if you aren't happy with the 5 in the bot because they don't exactly fit your needs, you will probably find something useful amongst the top 20, but you'll just have to go through them yourself if you like. There's no need to, though, again, I'd emphasize, because it's in the bot, but it can't hurt to have this information. So aside from the raw output of the bot, meaning 20 videos per day of the top performing videos in that niche, we also give you an option to schedule within Notion. So there's a sync timetable here. You could go straight from the bot and you can just add the instructions with the link of exactly what the model needs to reproduce, and this will be synced to her workspace. It's just to keep everything neat so that you can select here and you can put it straight in here without ever having to leave Notion, and then you can also track it here. So just pretty much everything from selection to tracking to scheduling can all be done from one Notion page, which we found quite useful. There's also a Google Sheets option, which we've used in the past. If you prefer, that's just there. It's really a matter of taste and what suits your agency's needs most. Finally, we've also included a general guide just on things like lighting, example videos, explaining why some things have done well. This is just a guide you can give to your models to explain how to create quality TikTok content. It's just useful to have here as well. But the main thing is, of course, just tracking, scheduling, and video selection. So overall, that's the entire package. Let us know what you think. We think it's probably the most holistic organic TikTok strategy out there. all neatly organized, and we hope you agree and look forward to hearing what some of you think when using the bot.